What's up, nerds? Tony here with you for a little bit of a delayed Critical Role recap. Going back to Campaign 3, Episode 13 from week before last, A Dance of Deception, here's what we had. First of all, at the top of the show, we had some great announcements, including the announcement of graphic novels focused on Ford Stone and Not the Brave, two great characters from Campaign 2. Ford's graphic novel comes out in June. Nott's classic is going to be released in August. On episode 13, we rejoin our fearless octet as they prepare to engage in ball-based espionage. So very much role-playing of dancing. So very much. The ring trade-off that was teased for this episode was wild, but eventually the crew pulled through. Not without problems, though, as once the ring was switched, Armand Treshy, the target of the switch, was suspicious. He noticed Ashton's Nightmare King mask, and he sent the captain of the Paragon's call, General Ratanish, to ask him where he got it. In true Ashton fashion, he ends up pissing off Ratanish, and the two of them are going to duel. Chetney spent much of the night tracking Cyrus, that is Dorian's brother, and Lady Emoth. We discover as the episode progresses that Lady Emoth is similarly imbued with weird goopy powers like our old pal Duggar the Dwarf. She and some shade creepers are seen tossing a room as we end episode 13. Moving on to episode 14, titled In Too Deep, we pick back up with the hustle and bustle of the lead-up to the duel between Ashton and General Ratanish. General Ratanish lets Ashton take the first punch. Ashton rages, because he's a barbarian, remember? And he calls a headbutt followed by an ear boxing. And now we roll initiative. Ashton gets the jump, elbow to the ribs, uppercut to the jaw. Ratanish rages on his turn as well. Seems like we've got a couple of barbarians going at it here. The trading blows continues, and we learn Ratanish can also do some fire damage on some of his hits. Matt shits all over Talison's Chaos Burst attempt because he is not holding a melee weapon, and he tells him you gotta have a melee weapon in order to do it. Good back and forth, but Ashton ends up getting KO'd. Matt tells him to roll a death save, and he hits a nat 1. Yikes! That counts as 2 fails. Luckily, we are spared another Taliesin Jaffe character death as Ratanish tells his people to patch him up, and FCG comes in for some clutch heals. Ratanish uses this opportunity to advertise the Paragon's call to all of those watching the duel. We head back inside where Armand Treshy is chatting surreptitiously with an unknown woman, and Ratanish summons Ashton in for a chat. Imogen attempts to cast Sending to Dorian's brother, but he does not reveal where he is. The group talks with Lord Eshtaros, and they plan to investigate this whole Shade Creeper situation, while Eshtaros goes off to get some keys to some rooms that they're supposed to have here at this fantastic ball. Orym listens around the room and learns the mystery woman's name is Mistress Orlana Shishadri. Laudna casts unsettling presence on the woman and lies about being called Lorelei DeRollo of Whitestone. Bad roll and seems to get nowhere with Mistress Shishadri. We go back to Ashton, and Ratanish pours him a drink and presses him further about the mask. Ashton claims professional privilege and does not reveal anything other than he just thought it looked cool. Chetney sees a half-orc man and a gnomish woman wearing green robes. Dorian rolled a history check and recognizes them as the Green Seekers, an elusive organization of detectives. They think the presence of the Green Seekers might have something to do with Dorian's brother. Chet and Dorian formulate a plan to distract the guards for Dorian to search the bathroom for Cyrus. Meanwhile, Fern and FCG meet up with them, even though they're supposed to be staying put. Classic Fern. Dorian's bathroom search yields nothing but a stinky stall, but some sounds of death and destruction come from down the hall where the guards were looking based on their distraction. We get Lady Emoth attached to the ceiling like a nightmarish spider blob, and before the party can all come back together, Matt tells them to roll initiative. Lady Emoth gets to clawing, Chet pulls his chisel out of FCG's robotic guts, goes wolf status, Fern uses Mister, her flame spirit, and a flame blade. FCG calms some emotions, a couple shade creepers are dispatched easily, but eventually Lady Emoth slimes herself through the wall and is gone. Orym rappels down the hole and sees nothing, very similar to what happened with Duggar. Dorian and Laudna hear a commotion in the hall, and it sounds like Dorian's brother has been captured by the Greenseekers. Laudna casts darkness on the central chandelier in the ballroom and causes a small commotion, but someone in the crowd dispels it, because we've established there are a bunch of magic users here at this place, and it was not that big a deal. Dorian throws a smoke grenade at the Greenseekers and tries to rush in to get his brother. He smacks straight into one of them, but succeeds on charm person. Crazy. Eshtaros smacks the other guard with his cane in the fog and tells Dorian to go to his house. Laudna uses her creepiness to distract the crowd with Form of Dread, and Dorian casts invisibility on his brother and they escape. Imogen and FCG are helped by one of the guards that they saved from Lady Emoth and the Shade Creepers, and they're able to get out of this tight spot with a combination of calm emotions and the guard vouching for them. The party remaining in the mix tries to leave the ball, but they are watched very closely. They make it to Eshtaros Manor, where Lord Eshtaros is, shall we say, less than chuffed. Cyrus talks about his hire by Lady Emoth and says she has a treasure that she was planning to split with him. He also says she referenced her mother, which, knowing D&D, is probably a giant slime spider of some sort. Eshtaros says he can smuggle Cyrus out, but mentions the Green Seekers and Wardens will be looking for a blue-skinned Air Genasi, and that Cyrus won't be able to look out for himself. Dorian makes the hard decision to accompany his brother in Eshtaros' airship to Amon. Dorian leads a toast, and apparently we are going with Bell's Hells as a group name. I don't know about that one. We're going to need to revisit. Dorian departs, as does Robbie Daymond. Boo! Great cast member. Apparently he was not meant to be a permanent cast member on this campaign, but he is the longest tenured guest in Critical Role history, and when you add that to all of his appearances on Exandria Unlimited, as well as the upcoming Exandria Unlimited, he is definitely a big part of the Critical Role family. Going from here, our 7-member party will have some things to do. Let's see what happens next week. Thanks for joining us. Be good to each other. Later, nerds.